Hey, my name is Kyle Rush, and you are watching the No Counts Given podcast. Dance Team Union is a proud sponsor of the No Counts Given podcast, and I have some very exciting news to share with you. Starting next month, here come in June, DTU will be launching their annual Instagram flight contest powered by Spirit Airlines. Now, this is to provide an opportunity to earn funds towards your nationals travel. DTU's motto, "We're here for you," continues to drive their commitment to supporting teams. Even if you are unsure whether or not you are going to attend the 2026 DTU National Championship, I still encourage you to participate in this event. And in celebration of 10 seasons of Dance Team Union, they will award unique entries with special prizes throughout the contest, ranging in value from $200 to, get this, $1,000. For more information on how to participate and earn funds for your travel, go to www.danceteamunion.com. Welcome to the No Counts Given podcast. I am so excited. We are finally getting our first episode out. No, slow down, Kyle. Run it back. Welcome to the premier podcast for Dance Team, No Counts Given. I am your host, Kyle Rush. You will be with me every Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is our posting time and days. Tune in with us. Listen, No Counts Given is going to change the game. We are doing score analysis. We are talking about competition, social media, trends, interviewing top dogs of the industry, giving you coaching changes, athlete changes, recruiting, all of the sorts. Think of this as your ESPN for Dance Team, okay? ESPN for Dance Team. I don't know if I can legally say that actually, but just compare us. Don't actually call us that. Compare us to that. Yeah? Okay, listen, what is No Counts Given? My goal with No Counts Given is really just to continue to spotlight dancers and coaches and choreographers, top leaders that are in our industry, people that are emerging into our industry, and really having raw, I want to say unfiltered. I'm a little unfiltered. Sometimes the guests can't be unfiltered. I'm unfiltered, but raw interviews and truths behind Dance Team. I hear this a lot of just resurfacing conversations back into the room. And my goal sometimes is to switch the conversation. We got to switch it up sometimes. The way you're thinking might not always be right. Listen, the way I'm thinking might not always be right. And one thing I'll tell you through the already 8 interviews I have done, I have already learned so much. And I've been immersed in this dance team space for 15 plus years now. I'm just so excited. I hope you join the community of No Counts Given. Follow us on all social media platforms at No Counts Given. Get to us on YouTube, subscribe, follow, hit that notification button. Go to TikTok, follow us. Go to Instagram, follow us. You got Facebook? Follow us on Facebook. You want to stay connected with what we are bringing to the table in Dance Team. Now, one thing you're probably going to think, and you're going to notice this a lot, my sets and where I'm at is always different. Let me tell you the special thing about No Counts Given. I'm traveling, okay? No. Zoom interview? No. I want to go to where you're at. I want you to come to where we are at, and I want to have face-to-face, real feelings of an interview. You hear me? Not to dock anything with Zoom interviews. Listen, the ones I did back in January, all the college athletes, those were all pretty much done through Zoom. So I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is that we're going places, okay? This podcast is going places. I'm going places. And I want all of you to join the ride with me. The whole upcoming of this podcast is a episode and story time within itself. Today's guest, this one is really surreal for me, okay? I have been inspired and huge fans of the Ohio State University and University of Minnesota, but it's not just the programs that inspire me. It's the people that are leading the programs. You have Amanda Gaines with Minnesota and you have Melissa McGhee with the Ohio State University. Both coaches that I adore so much, and being able to sit with them and talk with them, have them in the same room it was so surreal to me. The moment someone brought the idea of having these two coaches in the same room to have a conversation, I thought was so important. We all see it during UDA season. It is always University of Minnesota or the Ohio State University. It's never and. It's always like taking fandomship of one and then you have to dock the other. Not really realizing like what the programs are bringing to the community and to their athletes within itself. Okay, Amanda Gaines, Melissa McGhee, let's get into the interview. It's a good one. Stay tuned for the entire interview and let's welcome them in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I am very excited to meet both of you. Obviously, huge fan of both of your programs and the legacy that you guys have. I mean, I've been following Ohio State. I've been following this for years. So this is kind of like surreal to me. I'm not going to lie. I was like trying to prep and I was like, I wasn't sure of you guys' relationship.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys are friends now. I wasn't sure. So I was like, what kind of questions do I ask? I don't want to like make them give each other's little secrets away. But I'm very excited because I feel like this is a moment that I think a lot of people need to see.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys both see it too. Social media is a wild, wild beast. And the past few years, it's always been pinned against like the Ohio State University or and it can never be and.
Yes.
It's always the or.
Yeah.
I want to first dive. Well, first, let me do this. Let me have you guys introduce yourselves.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure we could just Google search and find everything about you. But let's go ahead and start. Whoever wants to go first, go for it.
You take it. Okay. My name's Amanda Gaines. I'm the head coach of the University of Minnesota dance team. I am heading into, I think this is year 15. I don't know. There was like a break in for a while. I've been involved with Minnesota since 2005, basically. So I was on the team, have been coaching. I've won 20 national championships with Minnesota. I do choreography. I do consulting. Dance is basically, this is it. I recently started full-time at the university, which is super exciting.
Congratulations.
So yeah, I like actually get to live the dream and like coach full-time versus I used to, well, both of us used to have like corporate jobs and we're like kind of coaching as like our side hustle.
Abercrombie, was it?
She was Abercrombie. I was Target, actually. Yeah, so I was Target.
Those at a webinar.
So that's actually how like we really connected, like when we were both first kind of coming up as coaches, because we were both doing this like corporate world, like retail, and then also like coaching these teams. And we're like, what are we doing? And like, what have we got ourselves into with this life? So that's me.
Love.
Yeah.
All right, Melissa. Oh, actually, before you go, I don't want this popping in my
Check that white peach. Gotta get the white peach.
Take it away.
Yeah. My name's Melissa McGhee. I'm head coach at Ohio State. We have very similar backgrounds to Amanda, actually. I was on the team at Ohio State for 4 years. During my time on the team, we actually went from being a club sport to being a varsity sport my senior year. And then I rolled right into being the head coach the year after I graduated, which is where our stories differ a little bit. But yeah, I worked in corporate for a while, ended up coming over to Ohio State to actually do a hybrid role in like leadership development and coach the dance team. And I did that for about 3 years and then ended up shifting over to do cheer dance mascot, kind of oversee the program. So finished up season 14 and heading into 15 this next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think the very obvious in the room for people that are watching, they're probably like, why is Minnesota and OSU in the same room together?
Yeah.
Is rivalry pushing it too far, would you say, between the two teams?
I think.
Or would you say maybe like a respected rivalry?
That's better. Yeah. I think, that's something we've always been, I think both of us very vocal on, is like there's a lot of respect between both of our programs. I think we both run our programs very similarly.
Yeah.
We have kids that grow up dancing together that are on team. They're siblings, they're related,
Yeah.
So
literally.
I think there's a lot of respect. So I think social media has probably fed into the rivalry more than like our teams do individually, right? Is maybe how I would phrase it up.
Yeah.
I also think the word has a negative connotation. Like the word rivalry feels really charged and emotional and just sort of like chaotic, honestly. And I think and I don't want to speak for her, but I think what we can both agree that we're very passionate on is like pushing the industry forward. And if that means that it's in tandem or, we push each other to get there, then that is, I think, at the end of the day, what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it's really a pretty positive thing from when you look at it from that lens. And I think sometimes just the word rivalry feels inherently negative. It's not meant to be that from either side.
Yeah. I think in the past, like, I would say 5 years, maybe post-COVID, the dance team industry has just blown up. I'm sure you both have felt it. Like, there are so many people inside dance, outside dance, don't even know what dance is, that share their opinion.
Yeah.
And one thing that I mean, I'm on TikTok all day. I'm on Instagram all day, especially during UDA season. Like, I'm reading everything.
Yeah.
I see and hear a lot of Minnesota or Ohio State.
Yeah.
What goes through your guys' like individual heads when you see that comparison, or maybe some people wanting to take fandomship of one team but not respect the other? Like, what kind of goes through your guys' heads in moments as such?
I think that for me, and yes, it's Ohio State and Minnesota, but it's really for any team that competes at the college level. I think when you're a coach, you know how much blood, sweat, and tears, no matter what genre, what division, what competition circuit they're in. Like, there are 20, 22, 24 people with coaches in a gym working incredibly hard towards a common goal. And so it's really hard for me to accept that there can be so much criticism when there's actually so much good happening lightly inside the program and in the gym. And obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinions and how they feel. But I wish we would celebrate what goodness is happening as much as we maybe shared the negative, or, honestly, some of the stuff that crosses the line is the individual critique to me. And so I think that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I usually have like my mama bear moment around nationals where I like post something in my caption or a story because, I think social media has added so much pressure to the athletes.
Yeah.
And as coaches, I'll be honest, I don't have TikTok. For my mental health, I'm like, I know you're a big deal because I hear my team talk about you, but I'm like, for my own mental health, like, I'm like, I know I have to stay off it because I know, like, I inherently want to get into this, like, don't come from my team like that,
Oh, no, I'm with you.
I think for me, like, my speaking point is always like, we should be able to celebrate both. We know what we sign up for, and that, like, for sure, it is a competition that is based on people's opinions. And so, well, yes, everyone is entitled to their opinions. Like, that doesn't mean that multiple people can't have been amazing and we can't celebrate multiple people. And I think especially, like, we have felt this, it's gone both ways. Like, how it goes one day, opinions one day is different than opinions the next day. And that's just the reality of what we've signed up for. I also think, like, our sport in general, we are all still fighting for that, like, recognition and respect. And so, well, yes, it's great that all these other people are, like, starting to care and get involved. I encourage people to actually get educated about what they're watching because, like, you might watch the Dance Awards or Showbiz. That's different than what you're doing. It's different than what you're going to see, like, on Making the Team for DCC. Like, it's a different world. And that's not to say, like, it's better or worse. It's just a different world. And so absolutely be opinionated about it. But make sure you know what you're talking about because we're all just fighting for the respect. And so we want everybody to be celebrated and, like, get the same resources. But if we're tearing each other down, all we're doing is, like, holding the entire sport back from being able to get that respect, get the recognition. Like, we're missing so much equality across all. Like, we, I think, are two programs that are very fortunate that get a lot of support from our university.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get that. So it's like when we're tearing each other down, we're actually just making it harder for everybody to get that respect.
Yeah. Oh, 1000%. And I feel like tying it into social media, like this season with social media, excuse my language, but it was a shit show.
You're not wrong.
No. And so we'll go on both instances, but I'll start with OSU. Well, first of all, I just have to say, I was educated this year.
Okay.
When I'm reacting to the Ohio State University, I can't just say Ohio. People do not like that.
Oh, really?
No, they were like, you can't say Ohio because that means, like, Ohio University.
Yes.
You have to say Ohio State.
Yeah.
So
It is not but people say Ohio, but I'm like, There is an actual higher university.
I'm like, if I'm watching, I don't care if you're University of Memphis or your Memphis State University, I'm going to say go Memphis. But that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But going into, I want to start with OSU. Crazy start to the UDA season. I guess maybe finish for you guys with videos leaking.
Yes.
And opinions being shared way too early.
Yes.
How did your team take that? And like, what was the like overcoming process to be like, let's not even pay attention to this and let's worry about our job and get on the stage and prove people wrong?
Yeah.
Like, how did your team take that?
Well, I think there's like two versions of leaking. One that you do yourself and one that someone, yeah. So not on purpose did ourselves, but obviously like we have a really good relationship with our digital media team.
Yeah.
One of our former athletes is actually working in that department. And we ended up doing I think it must have been Pom, yeah, at a women's game. And I mean, I got upstairs and my phone was like blowing up.
That quick.
Yes. And this had happened a few years ago to a different team. I don't know who it was, but you probably remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember who it was, but I remember. Yeah.
I remember this like same situation happened. I remember being on like in the circle of it and being like, oh man, like that is so tough. Like so tough. Yeah. Like someone trying to do something good. They're just trying to support you. This side of like, look at this cool video and all that. And it's like, and then I was like, I was talking to our assistant coaches and they were like, women's basketball, they reposted it. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like that was my first reaction. I was like, honestly, like for a major sport to care enough to post it on their social media following, I was like, I was pretty excited about it. And then I was like, oh, people are like freaking out because I was like, I get it. Okay. Yeah. So at first, like not to be like super naive about it, but I just wasn't like, I wasn't up in arms about it.
Yeah.
It was, again, everybody else that was like, and then I was like, all right, well, we can take it down. But like at this point,
people saved it.
Yeah.
Screen recorded, opinion share. I did not see that original video, which I'm surprised because my whole feed is dance team.
Would you believe me if I said I hadn't either?
I actually do believe you. Yeah. A lot of the comments were like, it was up for 5 minutes. I had people writing me, do you want it? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
There's like a whole black market for like video throughout her season.
I haven't heard that like a lot of teams will get away the.
I'm like, how did you get like who the
yeah, I would say I would like to go on the record and say like whatever, if people want to share videos that are public performances, go for it.
Yeah.
But I fundamentally disagree with sharing practice videos.
Yeah.
And I like think there is a complete lack of integrity of anyone that is sending a practice video that was meant to be from inside of the gym.
Agreed.
Take notice. You heard it from Melissa. Do not share practice videos.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. Like you're taking the basketball halftime. You're doing a performance show. Yeah. But a practice video choice as a coach to do a public performance.
Yeah,
practice videos you're sharing with like your inner circle. And so when that stuff gets out, you're like, where's the leak?
Yeah. When I saw a repost of the video, of course, it's always the anonymous accounts with zero following,
Yeah,
exactly. So I saw that repost and I was reading the comments and my heart really went out to your guys' kids. Like it was like, I don't even dance anymore. I just talk about dancing. But I'm like, if that was me, I think I would just like pack my bags and go take a flight somewhere and never show my face again because it's just like people are so brutal in their comments.
Yeah.
Is there like any mental conditioning that you guys do in practices or talks after, bring people in to like help them prepare? I mean, we know now, either one of you guys' programs up on the stage, easily 1 million views. What is like the mental conditioning to prepare you for that moment?
I mean, I can just say from my 2 cents, I don't think there's like a perfect formula or like a perfect message that you can say because quite literally everyone's different and how each individual handles and their capacity to handle things of that nature is quite literally very different, even on the 22 people that were on my roster. But what I do think, and what Amanda said earlier, I agree with, in that like, you know what you're signing up for. Mm-hmm. And so like we know what we're signing up for as coaches and as teams that compete in a subjective sport.
Yes.
Similarly, these days, like you know what you're signing up for when you decide you want to put your hat in the ring to be on a team that's going to get this much pressure and exposure. Like it's a blessing and a curse always.
Yeah.
And so I think there's just like some harsh reality to like, people are going to want to bring you down more than they're ever going to want to build you up. And you have to have the internal fortitude to be able to know what matters most to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's go into Minnesota. Which, by the way, congratulations, both of you. Team USA, I love.
It's her fault. My team, they did it, and now my team was like, "Can we please apply?" Because we've done it. Like, it was 2014, and I was like, "It's a long season."
Yeah.
So Ohio State did it, and they're like, "Please, coach." So I told her, I was like, "It's your fault," and I got a 12-month long season.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because that is exactly what it is.
But it's a great experience. But
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Switched it up. No more women's word.
Yeah.
What I know the back is of why. Let's explain it to the people who don't know and think that they do know. Why was there that switch?
Snap the records.
It's really like, okay, well, I want to like take a step back. Let's talk women's work at nationals really quick too, because why not?
Yeah.
Obviously, like the lift didn't hit in finals, kind of a fluke. I mean, flukes happen.
Oh, for sure.
But
We're
like
human.
Matt's turn at the end, we had actually decided that was not like a reaction to his lift not hitting. We had actually made that decision like earlier in the weekend that like.
Or that was the narrative though.
Yeah, that was so. There was and I know it was like in jest with someone who was like, I heard Amanda Gaines got paid $50,000. So now I'm after if somebody would have paid me $50,000. But there's a big the money in our world. Like me, I was like, that's like life changing for the team. But no, it's like we had made that decision. We wanted to make more of an emotional connection at the end. So it's like when that narrative started, like, well, the lift didn't hit and he was just so distraught that he didn't do the turn. And it's like, it's really not that deep, you guys. Like, I made a decision, like, we're good. But yeah, so for the ICU competition, what's different or more unique from like, say, like a varsity like UDA or NDA, they actually have very clear-cut category definitions.
Yeah.
So, as you think about how dance really grows internationally, it's important that like they are very clear on like, this is what this category is looking for and expecting. Especially as they're also trying to get, dance approved for Olympics and they're thinking about separation from like rhythmic gymnastics or ballroom, things like that. There are very clear category definitions. So for the performance jazz category, I believe there are actually words in there that are specific to like lively and like uplifting. And they want more like, so a song like Woman's Work, and especially our interpretation of it that was about, loss and like grieving really was just not appropriate for that competition. So when we applied, I, as the coach, like applied knowing like we probably would have to do something different because this is just not really like, it was stunning dance. We had an amazing time working with Tassandra, like loved that piece so much. We just knew it was not the right fit for that competition. And so would have to do something different to truly fit within the parameters of what that category definition were.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I mean, it was silver in jazz.
Yeah.
You're not on social media, so I'll fill you in. It's just the comics.
You're going to ruin my day, aren't you?
No. Well, first of all, ICU does. It's not like varsity. They don't post actual school.
No, correct.
Online.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
When I'm trying to explain to people like, this is why I think maybe Japan won.
Yeah.
And the comments were it actually it surprised me.
Yeah.
Someone who's been following ICU and watched it for years, I'm not scared to say that the USA is top notch in technique. Mm-hmm. Other countries just haven't gotten there yet.
Sure.
Right? Or not at the level yet, right? And so a lot of the comments were like, Japan's falling out of their turns. They're doing this. They're doing that. So it makes me want to go into like the artistry side of dance, because that's one thing that I feel like Japan had a lot of is like artistry, everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the scores were tight. You don't got to tell me. Maybe off camera, I'd love to know, but you don't got to tell me. Dance Team Union is a proud sponsor of the No Counts Given podcast. At Dance Team Union, the spotlight shines on you. Join DTU at camps and competitions that focus on bringing your program exactly what you are looking for. What is their mission, you might ask? To make sure your voice is heard loud and clear. DTU is dedicated for being coach and dancer focused because your needs and wants are their top priority, guiding DTU to provide tailor-made opportunities to align perfectly with your vision. Your voice matters. It's what drives them to provide and innovate season after season. Join the DTU family today and let your passion for dance take center stage. Dance Team Union, where your voice inspires greatness. To learn more about their summer camps and competitions and nationals that are really going to be coming right around the corner, go to www.danceteamunion.com. Would you like to see dance go into like a more artistic side, or do you like the athleticism, technical part of dance?
I think that's such a tricky question. Like, when I think of dance as a whole, I love the artistry. I think what is cool about dance team, and especially collegiate dance team, is the athleticism. But I also challenge that, like, I don't think those two things can't coexist. Yes.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I think that is something that I know, well, I think that's something like Ohio does brilliantly, is like really blending that.
Ohio State.
Yes, the Ohio State, yes. I think like when you look at the pieces that they've brought, especially the last couple of years, it's like, I think that's where you guys, like, you have pushed the boundaries so much with artistry. And I think, Minnesota, like, my head as a coach is always like, I feel like we're held to a certain standard around like technical execution, and like people expect us to, it's like after Dream On, like, what are you going to do to top the aerial turn? And it's like, I'm actually not trying to top the aerial turn, right? So it's about bringing something different. So I challenge that. I think those things actually can coexist. I think each competition and even each judge individually might value those things differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the beauty of dance team, is that you get to have both of those things, especially in the jazz category. And again, it's very subjective. So while, you might look and say like, yes, technique versus technique, you feel like that's maybe clear cut. You could definitely have a style preference. I wanted something happier versus something more intense. I liked their movement quality. I liked the way they perform. So it's like, that artistry leaves a lot more room for interpretation. But again, that's what we signed up for. And I think what people don't understand too is the ICU score sheet is different than what the UDA score sheet is. And so we're not necessarily judged on similar things, or how judges are trained is also different too, because as you're thinking about how does this translate globally, it's just different. And so I 100% agree. Like, I think the artistry from Japan was there. I still give props to my team. We had 12 practices. Like, we pulled that together in 12 practices.
Which I find just absolutely insane.
So,
like, to look that good.
So like, I'm so proud of the team. Yeah. Because we like brought back a camper team, but I would say like 75% of that was new. So it's like we had a base.
You did it.
I know, right? Like, that's like a bold years ago. So, so it's like, I think that artistry and athleticism can coexist. And I think when people try to keep them separate, I think that's when we're holding it back, versus why can't we actually take these dancers that are brilliant movers, but also have this really strong technical background? Why can't we showcase all those things together? Because I think that's what makes our sport so unique.
Oh, for sure. 1000%. Do you have anything you want to add to it?
No, I mean, other than I agree. I think like the two words we've a couple words, family and artistry and athleticism, are on our wall. I mean, I think that's what we believe in. And I think I agree with Amanda, you do need to push both. The industry needs to push both.
Yes.
Because I think when you over-index on one or the other, I think that's when you start to not recognize it as dance team. And to her point, and like, just as much as we like to really push artistry, I mean, we were doing second turns in an aerial and second turns, it's like you have to have both. I like the easy. Yeah. Like, you have to have that.
Yeah.
To really push the industry forward. And to make it, I think, really special.
Yeah. So the jazz, like we were just talking about, the jazz category for UDA is very wide, I feel. You could be lyrics, you can contemporary, you can jazz. Yeah. Do you think that there needs to be a set category standard for jazz at nationals? Like, we want to see strict jazz, or we want to see lyrical jazz, or whatever not even say lyrical jazz, lyrical or contemporary. Like, how do you feel about that category definition?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. Let's stop. We stay here for about 5 hours.
We got popcorn.
I love jazz in its truest form. And I think because most of us recognize that emotionality or some sort of contemporary lyrical has been a lot more maybe prevalent in the recent years. It's very hard to want to go solely in jazz and give it its flowers for the category that it is. And also compete and hit the score sheet and hit the trend and, check all the boxes that you think about when you think about what's next.
Yeah.
So rather than like a stricter category definition, I would just love to be able to do 2 routines. Or jazz and maybe one that's more squarely contemporary lyrical.
Wait, I would love that actually.
But I know that won't happen. But that would just be like my solve for that. Rather than like narrowing the definition, like actually making a jazz category and a contemporary lyrical category could quite literally solve a lot of the issues that we have.
I have a follow-up question then.
I don't know if you agree. I'm just sharing my
No,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm with you. Like, I don't think it's the right answer to necessarily like narrow it, because I think that's part of the beauty too, is like it's so much easier to push boundaries when it's like the box is wide.
Yeah.
And there's like the surprise element to it.
Yes.
It's kind of nice.
I think too, though, it's like UDA, like it's cyclical, right? Like I think more recently, like the lyrical emotional side has been more prevalent, but like, I think it's I think we've even talked about this like in the past, but I always joke that it feels like a little bit like college dancing is like just a couple of years behind like the studio trends.
Yeah.
And so, it's like you look at studio competitions, you're not seeing like there was a lot of years where you just weren't seeing jazz categories anymore.
Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, like jazz solos, that was like the last category of the night. There were 300 soloists in the jazz category, right? And like contemporary wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
And then now it's like
the senior contemporary category.
Yeah, like it's like you're lucky if you see a singular jazz solo at the entire competition. And so I think it's just like, but also you look at people like Molly Long bringing like jazz back, right? Like she's one of many bringing jazz back. I can stand it. Like there's so many people bringing that like traditional jazz back in like a very like relevant way, that my guess is that like we will start to see that be more prevalent in the dance team space again. So I think it's just like cyclical, and it's like wherever the studio world is, like dance team is always just like a couple of years behind.
San Diego State did it too.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
Yes, please. I love it.
so good.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Always like that. It's Q is always like he is.
That is jazz king.
Yeah. He earned the jazz.
Take a risk like that. Yeah. I feel like they did it in a really relevant way.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned that you would like to do 2 routines.
Mm-hmm.
Would you give up Pom to do another jazz or contemporary routine?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore.
I mean, absolutely.
I don't think I could go UDA season without seeing Ohio State Pom. I don't think I could do it.
I mean, I just think it's the same way of like, if we were allowed to do hip hop, we were allowed to do a third routine.
Yeah.
Like, I think any, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody because even adding one routine is like everywhere. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. But I'm like, what budget are you shooting with that shit? I'm saying, I'm making logistics. I'm just saying, like, so many of our kids grow up dancing with many different routines.
Yes.
And then they're like, it's only 2.
Yeah.
One weekend of the year. It just was like, I don't know. I feel like it's exciting to think about more in a way that like not more on the plate or budget or any of that. Just from a like pure artistry standpoint of like being able to showcase more would be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that why maybe you guys bring in like a lot of people from the outside to come in and teach classes where your teams? And I think that education part, especially in college, is very important.
Yeah.
I think now too, with like pro dance growing quite a bit, dancers wanting to go into like the commercial route, like it's very exciting to see programs like really adapt to bringing people in from the outside to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, versatility is so important. And I think
1,000%.
I think most people will be surprised to learn. Like, I would say 90% of the dancers that are on our teams don't do Pom growing up. Like, I am less, as I'm recruiting, I'm like less concerned that you like are a strong Pom dancer. I'm more concerned that you have body awareness and are versatile.
And that
then I can teach you to do Pom.
exactly. I was going to say that alone with that control and just knowing even the basics of dance, you can grow into a fabulous Pom dancer very quick.
Yeah, you truly need fundamental jazz technique. You should be a good Pom dancer to be able to be a good Pom dancer.
Yeah. Take notes, people from the outside. Let's I want to talk about the new recruitment that's starting this year, I believe it is. I don't really know what the difference is. I saw NBCA post about it, and I was like, I feel like you guys are the perfect people to talk about with it. Can you guys just educate me? What is going on? I know June 1st you submit videos. There's like submission 1, submission 2. Yeah. It goes on in the in-betweens. Like, what is it?
I think the like quick and dirty version is just like, at the end of the day, we've gotten so much feedback as college coaches as the recruiting model has evolved and dance team has exploded in the last 5 years. It's sort of been this like intersection of crazy.
Yeah.
That a lot of the seniors and the recruiting process is just stressful, overwhelming, undefined. We are not in the era of standardization. And so there was just this thought of like, how could we as college coaches help to streamline a little bit? Not really like revolutionize what we're doing, but just like make it a little bit more accessible and streamlined for high school students. So much like the common application where you could have one application apply to many colleges, it's the same thing essentially for college dance team recruitment. Our videos were very similar, if not the exact same. Pretty crazy.
I see them on YouTube. I see the recruitment videos. I know. Yeah.
And so you watch one and then recommend a video. I can also use a
playlist. It just keeps going.
Yes.
So I think it was just really about, we honestly kind of talked and it was like, this is kind of silly. Like these kids are in their senior year, they're supposed to be enjoying things like their last homecoming or like, getting excited about college or, being present senior year captains or whatever it is. And instead they're like crying over a left triple pirouette that they have to do 9 times over, so it's like, maybe we could throw them a bone here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want to add anything to it?
No, I think, like she said, it's just everybody was requiring so many things that were similar anyway. And so it's like what this will probably do is allow kids to submit their videos and then actually take more time to get to know like the school and the team versus spending so much time on the video. I think I laugh because she and I both do like a lot of podcasts and I feel like we touch on a lot of similar things. But I know you said something on a recent podcast that I was like, I think I just said that too. But like the video is like one data point that we're looking at in the recruitment process. And so while it's important, it is not like the end all be all. That is kind of like the entry point into like, let's dig deeper into like if you're a fit. And so I think if we can make that part easier, it just allows the kids and their families to actually spend more time like doing the important part of the recruiting process, which is the team, is the school, are the academics, is the culture, is the location the right fit for me? Not, can I do the turn section that they asked me? Like that's also important, but like we can make that part easier so the bigger stuff can actually get more time being prioritized.
Yes. Let's go into the standard. You guys are like setting standards year after year after year for dance team. And I was actually literally just talking to Sammy about this, where I watch competition videos now for a living.
That's so cool. Right?
I love it. I'm not.
Send your head.
And it's very obvious when I watch routines and I'm like, okay, very Minnesota inspired, very Ohio State inspired. What does it mean for like the both of you individually to be that standard in dance team?
It's a deep question.
I know it's it can be overwhelming at times. To be honest, like I had a realization, kind of like the very first event I did. I said I got this new role as like the head coach of our Spirit Squad, and actually like our very first event, our banquet wrapping up last year, I realized was literally 20 years to the day of my first day of tryouts to like join Minnesota. And so it's like that was like a really full circle moment for me, because when I was an 18-year-old going to try out at Minnesota, I was just somebody that was like, I'm from Minnesota. I like the school. I want to dance. Like, I have friends that like I know from high school that had like gone on to be on the team. This seems like a really cool thing. And it's like 20 years later, this is literally my living, and like this is what I do. And it's kind of wild to think because, 18-year-old Amanda didn't ever think dance team would like evolve to this.
Right.
And so I won my first national championship as a freshman on the team, and to now 20 years later, still be kind of like in this space where it feels like we're pushing boundaries. We're still at that level. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, but it really is a privilege as well. Like, it's cool to see how much the sport has grown, how much people care. We had a local news station come down to nationals and like report live on nationals. And like that just like even 5 years ago, that would have been like, we were like, oh my gosh, like the newspaper wants to do an article, like how fun. And now it's like, that's just kind of become standard practice. And that's so cool to see. And so I think it's like, I want to be able to keep pushing that's the experience for everybody in this sport, not just the experience for the Minnesotas and the Ohio States.
Yeah.
Like, I want everybody to get that recognition. And so I think it's just cool to get to be kind of like at the forefront. It's like really like an all ships rise mentality. It's really cool to be at the forefront of that. And it's exciting to see what new people come into the space and like continue to push things forward.
I mean, I would echo all of that. I mean, I think the word that came to mind right away was just gratitude, honestly. I also sort of like haphazardly got involved with dance team, like had never held poms before I went to college. Like dance team is still not a big thing in Ohio. It was just an activity in college and like never in a million years would have dreamt of this. And I think especially coming from the studio world and to see a little bit of the intersection of those two worlds and the respect that's being garnered and in that world for what's going on in our world. When so long dance team has been the black sheep. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently heard you speak on a webinar or podcast, and you mentioned the importance of studio training. And I don't know if you noticed, but that sparked a lot of conversation.
It did.
I mentor a lot of dancers, right? For recruitment or competition or doing solos, teams. And I had a dancer that only does high school. And when she heard that, she freaked out of like, I'm not going to be able to make a college team. I need to get into a studio ASAP. Can you dive a little bit deeper into it? Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, I think some of it was misunderstood. I think the intention I will stand by.
A lot of it was misunderstood.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's more about training and less about where. I think for a lot of that sort of seminar thing was talking to studio owners. Who are frustrated with dance team because many of their students are quitting at 9th grade or 10th grade just to go do their dance team after they have invested, poured their heart and soul in these kids, trained them, and then they're leaving completely. And so really the intent of the message was like, you need to continue to train in a setting. If your dance team can't offer that, which most dance teams, I think, Minnesota dance teams are an exception because they're phenomenal.
I know.
But most high school dance teams don't have a training program built in. It's more about like, let's learn choreography and let's rehearse versus like actually developmental skills or foundations. And so I think really the message, to be really blunt, is like you have to continue to train at a high level if you want to be on an elite college dance team. But not all college dance teams. It's a very specific message to a very specific person, if that makes sense.
I think it's definitely like training with the intent. And like with goals aligned as well too makes it very important. I think one, if I am an incoming freshman in high school and my goal is to join an elite program, I know that I need to step up my training.
Right.
In general. Right?
And that's the sentiment of it. It's like,
exactly.
You can't just expect to like go to any nationals as a dance team and that be enough. You have to actually put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that there is any kind of like restrictions when it comes to rules and the arena that you guys compete in? I watch a lot of college nationals between UDA to NDA to DTU. even like high school, I love watching Contests of Champions.
Yeah.
I think just this year they started streaming Minnesota State.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching that, and it's
a different
really
world.
crazy. Yeah. All of them are like different.
Yeah.
Utah, I've got that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do you feel like there's any kind of like restrictions that maybe shouldn't be there? Let's say, I know we talked about like category differences, right? Or maybe like costuming, skills that you could use, score sheet maybe. Like, is there anything that you feel like could be tweaked in the space to make it a better space for us dancers?
I think like the score sheet is always an interesting conversation.
Always.
But again, I know there's a lot of discourse around like how we maybe standardize score sheets across competitions, or I know like the difficulty score is like a hot topic of like, like how do you qualify what is more difficult than something else in like a split second?
Yeah.
I don't know that I know like the right answer. I think it's like we're also in the space where it's like you want to be so careful of like limiting us, because it's like now people are paying attention, like the sky is the limit of like where this could go. And so what's that balance of standardization and like consistency while also still allowing space to see like where does this evolve to? I get asked all the time, like, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give me as I'm like preparing? And it's like, train, because what dance team was 5 years ago is so different than what it is now. So like you're a freshman in high school, I don't know what dance team is going to be like by the time you're actually getting recruited. So it's hard for me to say like you should be doing this, and this.
It's going to change every year. Yeah.
Ballet is never the wrong answer, right? You should be training. You should be versatile. You should be able to pick up choreography. You should be able to take corrections and apply them.
Yep.
But for me to say like you need to be doing this because this is where the category is going to go, or this is what it's going to be, is really hard to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, it's such a, like, I can talk out of both sides of my mouth with that, because part of what I love about dance is like how you can go different places, and it's like, it's appreciated and respected in for how different it is.
Yeah.
But then there also is value when you look at like, how do we create more standards to like elevate? So it's just like, that's a conversation for people way smarter than me. Actually, I'm like,
I need to find them. If you're smarter than Amanda Gaines, can you please write me?
I'm just gonna stay in the gym and like coach the kids and like do, like push boundaries that I think I can push.
Yeah.
But like making those decisions, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything that you can get a little bit more creativity from a rule perspective is nice. I think there is a box that we're all living in. So anytime the box can get a little bigger, I appreciate it. But I do agree that like some of the more quantitative captions are the more frustrating when you are trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about dance team being labeled as cheer? Reason I ask is because I have a theory. I have a theory.
Okay.
That if dance team were to be ever entered into the Olympics, it wouldn't be under dance team. They would do it as they do in ICU under performance cheer.
Correct.
Which makes me shiver, makes my skin crawl a little bit, because I think dance team deserves more respect than that. Do you have an opinion?
I think it's
a sticky subject.
It is a sticky subject. I get where I get less caught up in like the naming convention of it and more like the recognition and like is what we're allowing performance cheer to be like what it should be, versus are we calling it performance cheer versus dance?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, again, there's probably a lot of context into like where that name came from.
Yeah.
I think it's like you look at something like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Those are all like trained dancers, right? Like, you've got an alum on the team. Like they're all trained dancers.
Yes.
So it's like, as you look at the professional space, I think that's where a lot of people get that confused.
Yes.
But I think it's also like you're taking credit away from what like collegiate cheer is too. Like these are also insane athletes. What you're seeing on like the UCA, NCAA, like USA cheer side. So it's like, I think you do a discredit to both when you're not giving it its like proper like definition.
I like that lens. I never thought about it from the cheer side. I'm not a cheerleader, I'm a dancer. But when you talk about the pro space, I 100% agree. I did pro dance for 2 years. I call it pro dance. Some people still call it pro cheer. I'm like, let's call a spade a spade. I'm a dancer. But yeah, I agree with that side. What about you?
I mean, I widely agree. I think I definitely don't. I also think too, having both been in the industry for a long time in the college space where you're adjacent to cheer, dance, mascot, that's kind of how all of our programs are set up. You get a little numb at the end of the day to like, are you guys a JV cheerleader?
Yeah.
Oh, you just haven't earned your skirt yet. Well, no. I mean, truthfully, like when we were kind of like, no one really understood what dance team was at Ohio State for so long that it was like you just got numb to it, honestly. And it's just not like the place that I tend to focus my energy.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many other.
I'll focus my energy there then. I guess someone's got it. Someone's got it.
It just comes down to the education piece, right? It's like you get the you know, like just random person on the side of the street that's like, oh, you're a cheerleader. And it's like, sure. Yeah, you know, but it's just like
easier to be like,
you know, like because I think most people don't mean any, there's no negative connotation to it to them. They're just like, oh my gosh, sweetie, look at that Minnesota cheerleader. And you're like, sure. Yeah, you know, like, and And so like, we are technically at game day. I'm cheering on the sideline, right? Like, they're not wrong. I'm dancing on the sideline, but I'm also hitting the crowd. I'm doing sidelines. Like, I'm next to my cheer team doing the same fight song. Like, so I get where people maybe have a hard time distinguishing if all they're seeing is like the game day content.
Yeah.
I think if people take that step back and watch the competitive side, they're like, oh, I get it. These are cheerleaders. They have people like throwing up in the air. Like they're doing crazy flips. They're holding them on one hand. These are the dancers. Like, it's a lot easier if you're actually taking the time to like step back and educate yourself.
Yeah.
I think most people don't have any like ill intent with it. And so, you kind of just are numb and are like, I'm just here to like represent my school and like bring joy and like love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And if you want to call me a cheerleader, cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I have one final question. It is the hardest question that I ask. What are you guys doing for nationals next? Just kidding.
That is a tough question because I don't know. Yeah.
My goal for next year though, I want to go to Best of the Best. And I want to go to your showcase. So if you guys could do me a favor and not schedule it on the same day, that would be
usually Friday and you're
by your son out here.
Okay, sure. So drive overnight, try and get there on time.
I'll push on the pass list.
I love it. I will reach out. Well, I thank you both for coming on to my podcast. It was really great to talk with you guys. And I wish you guys the best of luck in this incoming season. I wanted to talk about more like with your recruits because you guys have some insane recruits. You have Ashlyn coming on this year. I'm a huge fan. We're literally like almost neighbors.
Oh, really? Yeah. She's a rock star.
Why is the name not popping into my head right now? Call me Mother.
Oh, Raina.
Oh, she's
I cannot wait. So I'm very excited to see what is produced out of your guys' programs. And I hope a lot of people really listen and deep dive into this conversation. And I hope the narrative of nationals and how we praise dancers starts changing. But again, I thank you guys both for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate.
Thank you for tuning in to our first episode of No Counts Given. Listen, if you got feedback for me, let me know, okay? If you love what we're doing, let me know. Leave a comment down and just share some love. Or actually do this. I want to know, like, who are people that we want to hear from? Who are people we want to be interviewed by me, essentially, right? Leave a comment down and let me know. Next week's episode, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. Okay, Sammy McFadden, Smooth Criminal Queen, okay? Fallen, Alicia Keys, Coral Reef, Queen, okay? Like a Boy, Queen, okay? We have her on next week's episode. We go into some talks about some incredible things, some things I didn't even know about Sammy before, and I don't even want to spoil anything. I just want y'all to wait and see. Again, every Thursday, okay? Every Thursday, put it in your calendar. No counts given. I'm watching every single Thursday. Okay? Okay? Again, follow, like, subscribe, share, do all of the things. And I will see you next week for another banger episode.